Hello boys and girls, Mr. Giamini coming to you with the second part of the Topic 2 online assessment. The goal here is to finish assessment. Again, as always, you want to use this video as a resource to help you first find out if you had the right or wrong answer. So it's an answer key. But then secondly, and the way it's a really nice tool, is to, if you make a mistake, you can learn from that mistake, kind of compare your work with my work. So you want to have some work down and then compare your work sample to hopefully what I'm going to give you, and what I give you makes sense. And as always, I'm here every day during recess. I shouldn't say every day. Most part, I'm here during recess and AE. All right, so if you have questions about anything in the online assessment as you're going through it, great time is AE. Let's continue on here now. It says, Carlos drew a plan for his garden on a coordinate plane. Rose bushes are located at -5, 4, 3, 4, and 3, -5. Choose the graph that shows locations of these rose bushes. So I'm looking here at A. -5 on the x-axis, 4 on the y-axis. Well, this is -4. That's not it. I'm going to go here. -1, -2, -3. Oh, wait, that's B. But also B is at +3, so that can't be it. I go down here. -1, -2, -3, -4. There's -5. And up on the y-axis to 4. That works for that. Let's see if this works for... Oh, see, now it's not going to work down here because this is 3. So the only answer choice here is C. All right? Again, I kind of did this just by looking at really point A. I didn't really take too much time looking at all 3 points, all 3 ordered pairs. Now there's a part 2 to this, or a part B, I should say. Look at part B. It says, use the distance between the rose bushes, which are located at -5, 4, 3, 4, and 3, -5, to explain where a 4th rose bush should be placed so that it forms a rectangle with the 3 other bushes. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to the previous page. I'm going to focus on the one that I said, hey, that's the right one. I'm going to take a picture of this. So let's take a picture of this and see if we can't analyze this a little bit more closely. Go here. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. I'm going to turn the page here, and I'm going to paste that right down here. Again, I'm going to try to use resources here to help me out. And let's take a look at this. We want to find that 4th location. Now, the first thing I notice about A and B, this is the length. We can say this is the length of that. I want to try to make a little perimeter here. All right, so there is one. If I want to think about it as a garden, it's a rectangular. It's a rectangle. There's the other one. All right, now we want to find one that is the same length as BC, and then we have to find where AB is. So let's just take a look at the lengths here. We see that B is at 3, 4. A is also on the same Y, so it's on 4, but the X is at -5. So if I want to think about this, excuse me, we see that this is 5 away. This is 5 from here to the y-axis. What we think about that as the 0. In here, I see that it is 3 away. 3 plus 5 gives me 8. Adding these two together give me 8. That means length AB, which would be opposite of length C, and I have to put a D here. So let's go and just draw a line, or think about it. What's 8 units to the left? So if I went from B to A, I'd be going 8 units to the left. So C to D, we will call it, will also be 8 units to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, because that's our 3, because the absolute value of 3 is 3. We need to go 5 more units, but it's going to be to the negative. What negative integer has an absolute value of 5? -5. So I'm going to be at 3. Actually, I'm going to be at -3, or -5, excuse me. So on the y-axis, I'll be at -5, and this will also be at -5. So I come across here, we are actually at -5, -5. And that will help me now make that rectangle. And I could plant my last rose bush right here at -5, -5. So A and B are 8 units apart. Now it says B and C. B and C, how far apart are they? Well, this would be 4 units here. This would be how many units here? We are going 5 units apart. So that gives me what? 9 units. That is 9 units apart. We go here. Here to here is 4. From 0 to -5 is 9. So we are 9 units apart. So the fourth bush should be blank units to the left of point C. To the left of point C. It should be 8 units to the left and 9 units. Actually, this would be what? We actually have 10 units below here. Well, actually, no, we're right. It's going to be 4 units here and 5 units here. 4 plus 5 gives me 9 units. So the fourth bush should be planted at -5, -5. I have a lot of mumbo jumbo there. Let me try just cleaning that up just a little bit for us. All right. Again, we are here, A to B. I'm going to put a little dash here because that's the y-intercept, or that's the y-axis. I wouldn't think about that as 0. So this ordered pair here is -5 on the x-axis or on the y-axis. That means it's 5 to the left, 5 to the left of the y-axis, and then we have here, this is at 3, 4, and that is 3 units to the right of the y-axis. 5 plus 3 gives me 8, so A and B are 8 units apart. We now go to B to C. B to C, so if I go from point B just to the x-axis, which you can think about as 0, that is 4 units here. Here, from the x-axis down to point C would be 5 units. That gives me a total of 5 plus 4 is 9. So I know that B and C are 9 units apart. So the fourth bush should be blank units to the left of C. I have to go in this direction. This part, which we will call CD, must be congruent to AB. So if AB is 8, CD also has to be 8. So if I go over to the y-axis, that's going to be 3. What plus 3 gives me 8? 5 more. So I go to -5. And that'll give me order pair of -5, -5. That is my point D. Now I would have to extend that all the way up to connect to point A. So it says, so the bush should be blank units to the left of C. Well, we just said that it should be another 8 units because we want it congruent. We want opposite sides being congruent, and this would be 9. So the bush we planted at -5, -5. I just took a lot of time on that problem. Not a problem. I could do that. I want to make sure I get it right. I want to make sure that I have my answer correct. Okay, enter decimal numbers in a box to complete the ordered pair that locates point Q on the coordinate plane. Decimals. Well, let's take a look here. If I get back to my pen, I see -1, -2, -3. So if I thought about this, 1, 2, that's 2 jumps to get to 1. If I go to the opposite side, let's just change colors here. That is 2 jumps to get to 1. That means this is a half or 5/10, because 1/2 is the same as 5/10. If I am at 1 and I jump 1.5. 2, wait, that means Q is at 1.5. 1 and 5/10. They want a decimal answer. Decimal. Now I'm going down on the y-axis, down. So same thing. It's origin, 0, -0.5, -1, -1.5. So I'm at -1.5 on the y-intercept, -1.5 or +1.5 on the x-intercept. So it'd be -1.5, or +1.5, -1.5. It says choose all pairs of points that are reflections of each other across both axes. All right. Now, first thing I notice, I want to see -4.5 and then their reflection. So that means they will share the same x-intercept and same y-intercept. They'll only be negatives of each other, opposites of each other. So this is -4.5, 1. This is -1, 4.5. This would not be true because this is not the opposite of this, nor is this the opposite of this. Okay, 2 and 5/10. The opposite of that is -2.5. They try to mess you up here by giving you a decimal and a mixed number, but these are opposite each other. These are opposite each other. So point B, or answer B, would be one of the answers. 4 and 2/10, 2 and 4/10, not opposite each other. Don't have to worry about that one. 1, -1. -2 and 25/100, 2 1/4. Hey, 1/4 is the same as 25 hundredths. These are reflections. -2, 2. Hey, those are opposite. 2 1/3, 2 1/3, not opposite. I'm going to go with B and D. Last one, choose yes or no to whether each statement is correct. Side BC, or BC is 2 units long. We are going from, this gives me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. BC is 2 units long. It's going from 1 to 4. I'm going 1, 2, 3. That would be a false. CA is 5 units long. Well, it goes from -1 to 4. Absolute value here would be 1. It's in a different quadrant. Absolute value here would be 4. So I could take the absolute value of -1. Add to it, because they're different quadrants, the absolute value of 4. Absolute value of -1 is 1. Plus the absolute value of 4 is 4. I get a value, length of 5. Hey, that's true. BC is shorter than BA. I don't know the length of this triangle, but it is a right triangle. The hypotenuse, which is opposite the right angle, must always be longer than 2 legs. So this is a true. Side AC, which we just figured out is 5, is 2 units longer than BC. Wait, BC is what again? It's going from 4 on the y-axis to 1. Same quadrant. 4 minus 1 gives me 3. Is 5 2 greater than 3? Yes, it is. So that would be a true. There it is. You now have 2 videos that walk you through all of the Topic 2 online assessment. This is for you to use at your leisure. You could always ask me questions. Maybe you find a mistake I make. It wouldn't be the first time. Please bring it to my attention. I'd be happy to make any corrections or make any clarifications needed. Thank you much. Take care.